a moment of prayer to be led by our parliamentarian, Councilman at Large, Ryan Brewer.
Good evening, everyone. Shall we pray? Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for this day. We thank you for a day that we have not seen before, God. And Lord, for that we say thank you. Lord, we ask that you will continue to bless us, oh God. Bless us as you have ordained for us to be leaders inside this community, God. Give us wisdom, give us knowledge, oh God. We ask that you will lead and guide us right now, God, as we enter inside this meeting, oh God. And Lord, on tonight, we pray for bereaved families all over right now, God. We pray for sick families that's dealing with this deadly virus, oh God, that you will heal, that you will deliver, and you will set free, oh God. Lord, we shall be careful to give your name the praise and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilman Brewer. This time, we will have our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Atkins,
Here.
Councilman Brewer,
Here.
Councilwoman Brown,
Present.
Councilwoman Caldwell, Councilwoman Caldwell,
Here.
Councilman Godwin,
Present.
Councilman Lay,
Present.
Councilman Weatherspoon,
Present.
Councilman Williams,
I'm here.
and President Brown. Mr. President, there are 8 present, 1 absent.
With 8 members present, we have a quorum to conduct the business of the Gary Common Council. Council members, you have received via email the minutes of our November 2nd, 2020 meeting. Is there a motion to approve said minutes?
So moved, Mr. President.
It's been moved by Councilman Brewer. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Brown, and I believe Councilman Weatherspoon as well. Any questions or discussion? Hearing and seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Atkins,
Yes.
Councilman Brewer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Lay,
Yes.
Councilman Weatherspoon,
Yes.
Councilman Williams,
Yes.
and President Godwin.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. With a vote of 8-0, the minutes of our November 2nd, 2020 meeting are approved. We have no assignment of council pending ordinances and resolutions on our agenda. However, it's my understanding that the administration would like to add CPO 2020-70. Is that correct, Chief of Staff?
Yes, it is.
And Madam Clerk, do you have that record of that?
No, I do not.
Okay, can we send that ordinance to our deputy clerk?
I can do it right now.
Okay. I know that council members have received it. Maybe some have not.
I don't have it.
Okay. Well, let's make sure that all council members have it. I know I saw a couple emails earlier today.
I
This is
sent
related
it
to
to
it.
all the council members. You may not have looked at your email.
It should have been sent at 2:32. That's the time I have it.
Madam Clerk, do you have it yet?
No, I do not. Mr. President, you also have 2 other sets of minutes that you did.
Oh, okay. Well, while we're waiting, then we can also approve those rather. Just 1 second here. Because we did have 2 emergency meetings, so thank you for that reminder. Madam Clerk, so we'll start with November 6th. Council members, you also received the minutes from our November 6th, 2020 emergency special meeting. Is there a motion to approve said minutes?
So moved, Mr. President.
It's been moved by Councilman Brewer. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Council members Brown and Williams. Any question or discussion? Hearing and seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Atkins. Councilwoman Atkins.
Can you pass for Councilwoman
Pass.
Atkins? She's requesting that you
Councilman
pass.
Brewer.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brown.
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Councilwoman Caldwell.
I see her. She's unmuted. Councilwoman Caldwell, she may be frozen. Thank you.
Yes.
Councilman Lay.
Yes.
Councilman Weatherspoon.
Yes.
Councilman Williams. Councilman
Yes.
Williams. Councilwoman Atkins.
Muted.
President Godwin.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 7-0.
The vote of 7-0, the minutes of our November 6, 2020 meeting are approved. Council members, you also have before you the minutes of our special emergency meeting of November 10th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve said minutes?
So moved, Mr. President.
Been moved by Councilwoman Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Councilman Williams. Any questions or discussion? Hearing and seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Atkins. Councilman Brewer.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brown.
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
Yes.
Councilman Lay.
Yes.
Councilman Weatherspoon.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
And President Godwin.
Yes.
Mr. President, vote is 7-0.
Should that be 8-0? Maybe you didn't hear Councilwoman Atkins.
Oh, I didn't hear.
And Mr. President, for the record, Councilwoman Atkins did say yes on the last one, so I don't know if it wasn't picking up also.
Yeah, I think she's here in the chamber with us, but the Zoom, I think, has an issue. But she did in our presence. There are 4 of us present in the chamber. She did vote yes for both the minutes of November 6th and November 10th, 2020.
Okay, Mr. President, vote is 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. With a vote of 8-0, minutes of our November 10th, 2020 meeting are approved. Madam Clerk, have you received CPO 2020-70?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to add CPO 2020-70, an ordinance approving subsidies for the general fund for calendar year 2020 to the agenda for tonight's meeting? I can hear you, but there's no one on the system can. You want to just?
So move, Mr. President.
Councilman Lay has moved. Is there a second? It's been seconded by Councilwoman Atkins. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Atkins.
She said yes.
Councilman Brewer.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brown.
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Councilwoman Caldwell.
I don't know if she's frozen again or let's pass and come back to her. It's important.
Councilman
I
Lay.
think this requires unanimous.
Yes.
Councilman Weatherspoon.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
The screen frozen.
I think she's frozen.
She's frozen.
I'm going to try to send her a message because if I'm correct, we need a unanimous vote of the members present in order to add.
No, not to add
That's
it to
not
the,
true.
Not to add it, okay,
just
Well,
the
then-
majority.
thank you. So Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell, you're muted.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
President Godwin.
Yes.
Mr. President, vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8-0, CPO 2020-70 is added to our agenda. Would you like to now read it for first reading?
CPO 2020-70, an ordinance approving subsidies for the general fund for the calendar year 2020, sponsored by Mayor Jerome Prince, City of Gary, Arlene Coleman, City Controller.
Finance.
Mr. President, ends assignment of pending ordinances and resolutions.
Councilwoman Brown.
Mr. President, Finance Committee has before it CPO 2020-70. For the record, I approve this ordinance for reporting out to the council. Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell
Yes.
and Councilman,
Yes.
yes, okay. Okay,
All right. Councilwoman Brown.
oh, I'm sorry. The Finance Committee, Mr. President, the Finance Committee moves to accept CPO 2020-70.
Thank you, Councilwoman Brown. This time, we will have our special and select. I did want to acknowledge two guests who are with us and give them a brief time to speak. Then, of course, all council members will have an opportunity to speak as well. But I wanted to first acknowledge our emergency manager of the Gary Community School Corporation. This is something that she will regularly be doing to give the council and the citizens who watch Channel 4 and Facebook and Zoom and everywhere else an update about what's happening with our schools. And so we're grateful to have Dr. McNulty.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity for allowing me to speak this evening. I want to start off by saying, please offer me a little grace tonight because my family's been affected by COVID and I'm home quarantining and I'm not feeling so great this evening. So please offer me a little grace if you would. But I did want to say thank you to everybody who helped support the referendum. Thank you particularly to the faith-based community leaders, obviously the city council and their steadfast support, local legislators, parents, and definitely everyone in the community for helping support the Gary Community Schools. I think it's a huge transformational effort that's going to help us move forward with our school district. So I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart.
Welcome.
You're welcome. Do any council members have any questions? I did want to make sure that we certainly will be praying for you and your family during this time. About the oversight committee. I know that there's interest in folks being able to join that. Can you address how one might participate in that?
Yes. And I'm excited that people want to be part of that. I think that's a great thing. And we want to make sure that we share the information frequently and as transparently as we can with everyone. We are going to be, we have been developing the criteria for that because I've mentioned many times, I don't want this to turn into a political thing. We want it to be a cross mix of people from around the community that we can share the information with. I want the committee to become people that are going to become referendum ambassadors, if you will, so that I'll be sharing the budget, sharing the projects that are coming forth, so they can then in turn go out and share it with their communities and their network of people so that there's more people that are reaching out to one another. So anyway, the criteria has been formed. We're going to be putting that up on our website and then people can make application for that committee and then selections will be made. We don't start receiving the money until the end of June. So we have several months to get this committee formulated. And once it's picked, then I want to meet with that committee several times so that we can form kind of like the criteria, the ground rules, and how we're going to function together as a team. I want to do some team building exercises with that committee.
Thank you, Dr. McNulty. Council members have questions for Dr. McNulty?
Yeah, Councilman President Godwin, I have a question.
Councilman
for Dr.
Witherspoon?
Thank you, Dr. McNulty. As you are aware, we have an elected school board or elected school advisory board that has been voted on by the people in this community. And I'd like to know, as it relates to this community organization, where does the advisory board come into play with that? I mean, you know, if you have an oversight body, it seems to me that that oversight body would be the body that was, of course, elected by the citizens of this community.
Yeah, so this referendum committee is not replacing the advisory board. This is simply a committee that is going to be talking with me about the referendum dollars and how it's going to be spent, and for me to, again, to reach out to the community to share with them. The advisory board will continue to meet with me on a frequent basis. On a frequent basis, so that I can give them the same information. It's not to replace the advisory board.
Other questions of Dr. McNulty?
President,
Yes, Councilman Lay?
first of all, Dr. McNulty, I'd like to congratulate you and the members of the council that supported you. I put in a 100% effort to try to defeat the referendum. Now that it's here, and I'm not sure, usually when I make requests, they tend to be ignored. There are two things I certainly have a concern about, possibly three. One is the reading proficiency of the students in the Gary Public School System. The last figures I saw, the state average was 62 and we were 18. In the math, the last figures I saw, the state was 54, and again, the Gary Public School System was 18. As I noticed the other day, you're going to e-learning. So I would make the following request: that you keep us up to date on the reading proficiency. Now, if it only comes out once a year, I'd appreciate if it would come before the council. I'm happy to hear that you're going to be coming, so you can keep us up to date on that. I'm more interested in that because one accountant could keep track of the money if worth their salt. That's not a very difficult task. And I also would like to know the math proficiency. The Black experience is a very difficult one when you go into e-learning. So I would like to know what you're doing over and above what's normal with the parents of these students. In other words, you certainly, when I was going to set up a program concerning 12 males, the first task was to indoctrinate, maybe I shouldn't say indoctrinate, but carry on an extensive learning process with the parents. I'd like to know what, if anything, the teachers and you will be doing with the parents to assist these students in the household. And also what happens when a student damages the equipment. And as I understand it, you will put internet into every household that you receives a computer or iPod. So basically I'm asking for another committee, which I certainly don't, I'm not asking to be part of it. I'd appreciate if you could point members of the council to tell us where these reading proficiency. Oh, and I'd like to know, as I understand it now, is 25-to-1 teacher-students ratio. So again, new money, and now we're going to assist the students. I'd like to know if that ratio will be improved. Now, any part of that, and I know I said a lot, any part of that you need me to repeat, I'm certainly prepared to do so.
So to address some of your questions, we have already been in virtual e-learning mode. So I think the announcement that you saw in the paper here recently was explaining that now the faculty will be working from home, but our students have been in e-learning from the get-go because of the rate of COVID in our community. So this isn't new for students. So since the beginning of the school year, our students have been given Chromebooks and a hotspot. So this is not going to be a change for them. In addition, we have put together many training modules for our parents. They're posted on our YouTube site. We've also had small groups of parents who've been able to come in as they've requested to our central office. And we've been doing mini tutorials with them in groups of 10 or less. And then certainly if there's some parents that can't make it in, then we send people out to the bus areas where we're delivering over 8,000 meals a week at this point to help with problem solving with if they're having troubles logging in, etc. In addition, we also have a hotline set up for our students and parents if they need help from a help desk technician. And so I believe that we have our IT department and on the needs for our students, and we'll continue to listen if there's areas that we're missing so that we can enhance that. But I feel like we did a good job and have hit the ground running and are meeting the needs technology-wise and e-learning-wise with our students. Certainly, we know that the best place for our kids to be is in front of their teachers. That's what we want, but we got to do it when it's safe for everybody. Also, to answer your questions about the, excuse me one second. Sorry, I got to remind my 10-year-old twins here that I'm on a Zoom call. We are posting our data as far as math and English on our Path Forward. We've committed to posting that every quarter. So the first posting will be next month. And so you'll get a baseline of where we are as far as data in those areas, and then update that in all areas. And that would be, you know, I'm zoning in on suspensions, expulsions, math, reading, all of those areas are areas that we need to address as a district, and we're committed to doing so. And so I'll be happy to present that to this group and to anybody else who wants to see it. It'll be posted on our website so everyone has a chance to weigh in on that. You also asked about damaged equipment. We have had some students who have damaged their Chromebooks, and we do give them another Chromebook, but we have also had some students who have purposely broke up to 3 different Chromebooks. They're purposely breaking them because they don't want to participate, and they're telling their parents that, well, then I'm out of luck. I can't do my schoolwork. And so at that point, then certainly we're working with the families and taking the students' paper packets until that we know that they're going to be responsible and use the equipment wisely. We've also been called by several pawn shops where parents have taken in all their students' Chromebooks and tried to pawn them. And so we don't want to punish students, but we also need to be mindful of that as well.
President, may I?
Yes, Councilman Lay.
First of all, congratulations. That's the Black experience. I don't find that it's run major federal programs. It tends to happen. So you will actually come forward and tell the council, is that correct?
I'd be happy to present the information.
You're going to be here, as I understand you. You're going to be making a report. So I would appreciate if you would report this. And that's because I'm not that good on Facebook. But certainly, how many students, I think to figure less than 4,500, how many students are online now under your e-learning? How many?
All the students are online.
Can't be all. You just told some of, I'm not trying to correct you. You said some have damaged their computers and you're not giving it to them. Some, their parents have tried to pawn them. So you know how many, give it to me in a number rather than all.
But I would say it's over 90%.
Because all tends to be an incorrect way to answer a question. It's never all. So you believe, so this other 10%, which would be, looking at your figures being accurate, be 450 students and not online?
I don't believe it's that high, but I don't have the exact number with me this evening.
Yes, ma'am, but you initially in your information, you said 4,500 students, 10% of 4,500 is 450.
I'm just giving you a guesstimate. I don't know exactly the number.
Next time you appear before the council, could you give us an exact figure of who's on, how many online? And again, I'm not trying to cause you any hardship. I certainly don't have any problem with the referendum going the way it went. It's a concern I have because most public school says what happened, 99% African-American population, the people are not prepared to adequately deal with them. And I want to make sure that the school system adequately deals with the students. So if next time you come online, I certainly think if you've done all that you said you've done, that's basically answers pretty much my questions. But if you could tell us next time exact number and what you're going to do about those numbers that are not here. Now, last thing you did mention one additional problem. You mentioned that feeding. Where do they have to go to pick up the meals?
We have a 21 or 22 drop-off sites at this point. And so we take them out to, through our buses and take them to areas that we know that there's the most need. And so again, we started off delivering 4,500 meals, but now the State Department has opened it up and considered it as a summer feeding program and has waived the requirements that it has to only go to our students. So anybody who has a student that's 18 years or younger is eligible. And so that number has continued to increase each week. We've gone from 6,000 to 7,000 now this week up to 8,000 meals that we're delivering.
Have you found that people that tend to need items like that the most do not have the ability to pick them up? People who not even requirement at all have that ability. You actually track who is picking up the individuals that are picking them up?
Under the summer feeding program, we do not have to track who's picking them up.
I'm not talking about, I don't mean that much to me. I apologize. I'm sure the rest of the council understand. Summer, I'm talking about the way you're feeding them now. Do you track they're picking it up? You're either, yes, you're doing it, or no, you're not doing it. It's going to be I'm sorry, go ahead, ma'am.
I did not understand the question. Can you say?
Okay, it's going to be very difficult. Again, this is part of the experience, the Black experience. If a child is hungry, less likely will participate in your program. And so if the parent or guardian, whoever it may be, does not pick it up, I would assume that child will not have adequate nourishment. Therefore, the likelihood of their participation will be lessened.
Parent has to come. So
I'm a parent of I'm a parent. That's what I was asking.
Show us information that you have a student that's 18 years or younger.
Or you would write my name down in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I'm getting at, if we determine that students are not receiving the meal, either I'm going to ask you to do something about it, or maybe I can be of some assistance. But I have to know who's not receiving it. If Johnny's guardian or parent is not picking it up, I would have to know that, because that student's not going to participate. They're cold and or hungry. They're not going to participate in your program. But again, congratulations to the 6 council people and yourself and anyone else in this community. The community has spoken. I'm willing to live by what they've decided. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like that information.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Councilman Lake. Councilman Weatherspoon.
Yeah, Dr. McNulty, just one other question. What is the percentage of children in the school corporation that do receive the lunches?
99%.
9% of the children in the school system receive those lunches?
99%, yes.
And you gave out 8,500 lunches a week?
We're giving out 8,000 meals a week. That includes breakfast and lunch.
That's about 1,700 kids in the school system. Thank you.
I guess I wasn't clear on that number. You said 8,000 meals a week. Gotcha. Okay, so all the students aren't necessarily coming to get them.
Correct. Right.
Okay. Which a lot of them, I'm sure, have transportation.
You start.
Right.
It's only 4,000 then actually being given out that way.
Okay.
4,000 for breakfast, 4,000 for lunch. I don't want to. I'm
Right.
very good with numbers, so that's all. Already they're short.
And I'm sure there's some who come every day, some who may just come one day. We don't know where there's duplication or how that might work out, but.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Dr. McNulty from council members? All right, I want to say thanks again for your efforts and all that you've done. And we look forward to the continued engagement. I often like to remind the public that we don't oversee the schools. We don't have a managerial, supervisory, or advisory role, but we certainly know that public education is sine qua non to the future of this city. So thank you so much for all the work that you do. I look forward to having you before us in the months ahead.
Look forward to our continued partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have Ms. Adrienne Wells Lucas of Gary Game Changers. I want to give her 3 minutes to discuss some of the work that I know she's met with members of the administration and others around the city in terms of real estate development. And so I wanted to give her an opportunity. She asked to present to the council. So Ms. Wells Lucas, you're muted.
There we go. Hi, everybody. I'm Adrienne Wells Lucas. I just wanted to formally introduce myself. I founded the Gary Game Changers. I am a native of Gary. I grew up in Miller, and I graduated from Word High School in 1986. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about, one of the reasons why I decided to form Gary Game Changers, because I see that leaders in our city, they need help from citizens. So I grew up actually right in those council chambers doing my homework, as my mother worked for the city for over 28 years. So the Gary Game Changers are just ambitious and motivated citizens that are either from Gary, that are not from Gary, and they just want the best for our city and our community. So I've really been on this massive campaign to bring people to our city, to get them to see everything beyond the crime and grime. When I grew up, there's not just a lot of crime and grime, there's talented people here. The landscape is absolutely beautiful at one time. And I feel like that with the help of all the Gary Game Changers, we can change the narrative and get away from Game Changers are believers in the power of idea and community, and not necessarily the power of individual. And so since I've been and keep pledging their own money. And so to change, please get involved. As our city leaders, we need your assistance in getting and acquiring structures and vacant lots to rehab and new builds in your districts. Certainly to introduce myself formally, and then also to ask if you all would, as in your districts and as our leaders, to get involved. And certainly if you want to talk about how, we're just going to follow the vision of the city. But
Thank you so much. And I know that you've had a couple of events that have been wildly successful from everything that I have heard. And I believe that the administration at the appropriate time will also be telling all of us about a program. I think it's a get one, fix one, get two. And so I'll let them do that at the right time. But I know there's some good synergy around encouraging rehabbing and flipping throughout the city to get these properties back on the tax roll and have productive citizens owning them, or renting them as the case may be, but occupying them. And so we're certainly thankful for the work that you do, and look forward to seeing what further synergies will happen between the administration and individuals like yourself and your group.
it's my
Any
pleasure.
questions? Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Lucas, Wells Lucas? Okay. Seeing none, any council members for special and select?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Atkins.
thank you. Have two announcements. I wanted to let the residents of Gary know that boards and commissions are currently opening the application process for the Gary Youth Council. So the requirements for the Gary Youth Council, for a reminder, is any current resident of the city of Gary currently enrolled as a sophomore or junior in high school. The GPA requirement is at least a 2.0 and above, and to agree to a 2-year commitment, because the program will be for 2 years. Any individual that is interested in participating in this program should submit your resume as well as your letter of interest to Ms. Sherry Smith. The email address is smith@gary.gov. Also, submit that CC Linda Barnes Cotwell, who is the councilwoman of the 5th District. That email address is lcodwell@gary.gov. And all applications, including the resume and the letter of interest, should be submitted by end of business 5 p.m. on Monday, December the 7th. I also wanted to make the residents aware that the Gary Railcats currently have internship opportunities available for current college students. Positions are available in the following areas: community and promotions, graphics and promotions, ticket sales and operations, suites and premium experience, as well as grounds and operations. The qualifications: undergrads or graduate students currently attending an accredited university. You must be able to earn college credit for this internship, no exceptions. You must be able to commit to work the entire internship period from start to finish. Willingness and ability to work long hours, ability to lift at least 50 pounds for some of the roles, strong organizational skills, ability to handle multitask, and also be a highly motivated individual with a strong work ethic. The details for these opportunities and the application process is located on the Railcats website. It is railcats with the S, baseball.com. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Atkins. Any other members for special and select?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell, and then Councilman.
Commissions has a committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday, November the 24th at 5 o'clock. And this meeting is for the Board of Civic Center Managers. That's the Genesis Center Board. It's via Zoom. The meeting ID is 882-8100-6012. That's 5 p.m. Tuesday, November the 24th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Barnes Caldwell. Councilman Williams.
Thank you. This is for the residents in Precinct 7. Your precinct committee person is Danny Cruz. Next month in December, we will be meeting for a community meeting. I believe that date is the 15th. Give me 1 second. You can contact Sherry Smith, and phone number is 219-777-5819. Again, it's 777-5899. Sherry Smith. She can give you the information to log into the meeting, and the date is actually Thursday, December 17th. So our next Zoom meeting will be for precincts G67, December 17th at 6 o'clock p.m. Call Sherry Smith at 219-777-5899. She can give you the login information.
Thank you, Councilman Williams. Any other members for special and select?
President,
Councilman Lay, and then Councilwoman Atkins.
I will allow every move by this council, when they say they want to pass on all 3 readings, I will vote to allow it to come through.
Thank you. That's much appreciated, because that does require unanimous. So I had it wrong earlier. So we certainly appreciate that. Councilwoman Atkins. I'm going to ask for Chief of Staff Colvin's assistance with this. I know that I got an email yesterday that the mayor is going to be hosting meetings in all the districts. I believe mine is Thursday at 6 p.m. And are you all deploying that information out, or how is that? I wanted to make sure people knew, and I hadn't seen any flyers or anything, or how that's working.
Yes, it's going to be sent out, and it's being sent out through the mayor's office itself. So yes, notices are going to be sent out to everyone to participate in these individuals.
And that's this Thursday, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And I also wanted I'll wait later and ask about something else. Any other members for special and select?
Mr. President.
Councilman Brewer.
Yes, I'd like to first start off and send my condolences out to Dr. Otis Williams' family and Dr. Clarence Boone family, two great doctors that serve this community, and they have went on to be with our great Lord. So I just want to keep their families in prayer, and also to our former state senator, I always just call her state senator, Erling Rogers, and the loss of her sister. Want to remember to keep her and her brother and family also in our prayers. First, I would like to start off and just talk about, we have had several big fires inside our city, and I want to commend the Gary Fire Department, but I also would like to especially thank the surrounding community that come in. When we have fires of these nature, we have a tremendous amount of resources that's used inside our city, but we have our neighboring community that come in and step up, that occupy our firehouses to make sure the rest of the city is still covered, or come to those scenes there and help our firefighters fight these fires. And we normally don't do this on the floor or anything, but I thought it was very important that we take this time right now to just commend them and thank them for stepping up and continue to help our city. Just in the past 2 weeks, we have seen a great deal of huge fires inside our city. And I just want to thank our Gary firefighters and also the surrounding communities that come in to assist. I saw a man from Griffin that came out, and he's on a volunteer, 86 years old, came out and helped with the traffic control. And I thought that was something that should be commended in the efforts. When we see these different things happen, it's a lot goes into it. I responded to the brush fire on 25th. I did respond to that fire there, and that was a lot of resources, a lot of manpower. But the firemen, they worked hard to make sure that they got that under control. And just want to let them know that I appreciate them. I'm pretty sure the entire council does. And just want to let everyone know we continue to support your efforts and what you do to protect this great city. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. I do have one other thing. I received 2 calls today, and I'm praying that this is not accurate, and then maybe the administration can shine some light on this. Is there anything that's going on with Walgreens that we're not aware of as far as council members? I received 2 calls about the possibility that Walgreens may be closing. We only have one. Walgreens is our main pharmacy inside our city. I know we have CVS is still on Broadway, but Walgreens is the main big pharmacy and facility inside the city. And I want to make sure there's nothing true to that statement there. I know we met with Walgreens probably a little over a year, and they did express some concerns that they was having inside the city, and that's when they came with the conclusion to close the one in Miller. But I thought we was working on a good page to make sure some of those things were resolved going forward, so we wouldn't be facing this on 25th and Grant. So as the administration, whenever they get a chance, they can give me some type of clarity on that. Thank you.
I'll get back to you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brewer.
President.
Councilwoman Brown, you're muted.
President.
You're muted.
Sorry. Mr.
Okay,
President.
Councilwoman Brown and then Councilman Williams.
I received a call today that they are doing testing for COVID at St. Timothy Community Church, but the person who called me did not give me the time, so I don't have the time or the dates, but they are testing at St. Timothy Community Church. So I just wanted to let the public know that if they, wanted to get tested for COVID, you could do it at St. Timothy Community Church. I don't have the times. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brown. Councilman Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to do a correction on the phone number for Sherry Smith, my legislative aide. The number is 219-777-5589. So 777-5589.
Thank you. I just want to follow up. Someone just sent me the information. COVID-19 testing will be available until Saturday, from now until Saturday, at St. Timothy Community Church, 1600 West 25th Avenue. A site run by the Indiana State Department of Health will help with help from the U.S. National Guard. Insurance is not required. Testing hours are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. from now until Saturday at 1600 West 25th Avenue, COVID-19 testing. Pre-testing. Any other members for special and select? Okay. Seeing none. Council pending ordinances and resolutions on third and final reading.
CPO 2020-69, an ordinance approving the amendment of garbage collection fees for users located in the city of Gary, sponsored by Mayor Jerome Prince, city of Gary.
President,
Councilwoman Brown?
I move for passage of CPO 2020-69.
No. This is Ways and Means Committee.
I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong one. I should have been on 70. I'm sorry.
It's all right. On Tuesday, November 24th at 5 o'clock p.m. via Zoom.
5:30, Mr. President.
I'm sorry, 5:30 p.m. via Zoom. Any questions or discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Lay?
my question goes to, I'm going to probably mispronounce, Dan Vicari, Mr. Vicari.
Yes.
In the years 18, 19, and 20, the sanitary district paid for 28,000 households to Republic at that time.
Mr. Vicari?
Vicari, I'm sorry.
Yes, all right.
I'm sorry, Councilman Lay. It may be on my end, but you cut out when your question was raised.
Okay, I was fumbling with your name so bad. That's why I did that. In the year 2018, did the sanitary district pay for 28,000 households?
No, sir.
About
We've been, since 2012, we've been on the order.
No, hold it now. Unless you only have an interest in 18, 19, and 20. Did you ever pay for 28,000 households in any of those 3 years?
No.
So what did you pay in 2018? How many households?
I don't have the exact number in front of me, Councilman. I can get that to you, but it is on the order of 22,000 households.
Okay, I'd like to know very specifically what you paid in the years 18, 19, and 20.
It was nowhere near 28,000. That was going back to.
I'm sorry, sir. It's not. It is not. I need to know what it is. What it is, the exact number. Exactly what you paid. I just heard you paid somewhere in there 28,000 households. You're saying you didn't do that, except your word. Tell me exactly what you did for each year.
We may have a signal issue here. I'm not sure what you're saying. Nowhere near has it been 28,000 households since 2012.
I agree with that. I need to know exactly. Let me try. I'm going to say it slower. How many households did you pay in 2018?
22,864.
Say that again, sir.
22,864.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to write them down. I couldn't memorize them. 22,864. What did you pay in 19?
I don't have that number handy, but it's less than that number.
No, not less. I want to know exact, sir. I don't know why it's unclear.
I'm sorry, Chairman. I've been put on the spot. I don't have that number in front of me.
Oh, okay. You don't have to give us to it now. Be prepared to give us 18, 19, and 20.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all. Okay.
All right. So we'll have that, Mr. Vicari, at the committee meeting on Tuesday, the 24th, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion?
I have a quick question, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Williams?
Councilman Atkins, could you give me the date for the change for the Ways and Means Committee?
Next Tuesday, November the 24th
Thank you.
at 5:30.
All right. Any other questions or discussion? I will just say that we did have a productive community meeting with the First District last night, and Mr. Ricard was there. And one of the things that we broached, which Councilman Lay wisely mentioned at our last Ways and Means Committee meeting, was some of these possibilities. And I'm hopeful that from the administration side, I did talk to the Corporation Council earlier today, that we will continue to see how we can work well in concert with the sanitary district and the administration to relieve, as Councilman Lay suggested, as many burdens as possible in such a way that we know we're going to have to do some kind of trash rate increase. I think that's inevitable, but certainly not one this extreme where it's 73% higher. So I'm hopeful that also at the meeting on the 24th, we'll have some updates on that. And we know we need to move speedily, because whatever we do, if it doesn't happen by the beginning of 2021, that number will continue to go up as the 3%, I believe, every month or so, there's an effect that's built into that number. So hopefully we'll have as much information as possible on the 24th. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, the motions, we've had the motion, it's been seconded. I think we're ready for the roll call.
Councilwoman Atkins,
Yes.
Councilman Brewer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Lay,
Yes.
Councilman Weatherspoon,
Yes.
Councilman Williams,
Yes.
and President Godwin.
Yes.
Mr. President, vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8-0, CPO 2020-69 is moved back to the Ways and Means Committee for a meeting to be held on Tuesday, November 24th, 2020, at 5:30 p.m. Central Time via Zoom.
Mr. President, it's pending ordinance and resolutions on 35.
Thank you. I also wanted to make sure that if you have multiple devices on, that is, if you're trying to both log on with your cell phone and your computer, that there can be an echo effect. Also, if you're not speaking, you might want to mute. That might also help. We've gotten some complaints about it being hard to understand on some of the media that we project out to. We did have CPO 2020-70 that was added to our agenda on first reading. I think now may be the appropriate time to consider it to be passed on all 3 readings. And we need a unanimous of council members present to vote in favor of doing that. Is there a motion to do that? Councilwoman Brown, you're muted.
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Council.
I move the CPO 2020-70 be passed on all 3 readings.
Is there a second? It's been
Second.
moved by Councilwoman Brown and seconded by Council members Brewer and Weatherspoon. We'll have the overview at this time. Attorney Colvin.
Yes, 2020-70 is an ordinance that will provide subsidies to the general fund from the casino fund, the LDA fund, casino fund, local development agreement, as well as the seeded funds. These dollars have historically been used to provide additional revenue to the general fund. They are built into, or a certain amount of them are built into the budget that is prepared on a yearly basis. This year, I think originally it was established that we would provide about $14 million of these funds to the general fund, but we have been able to reduce our request to about 12 million. And that's especially relevant, I think, because of the reduction or the shortage, I should say, in time that the casino itself has been open, or they have been closed for a little while. So the request is for 12 million instead of the 14 million. And this will provide us with the balance of the funds that we need for the 2020 year.
Thank you, Attorney Colvin. I know that some members just had an opportunity to peruse this, but any questions for Attorney
And
Colvin?
I'll just say too, Mr. President, that this is done on a yearly basis. So the casino dollars are added in a certain amount based on the budget and the 16-line statements that you will be able to see from the year 2020. They're done on a yearly basis. So this is how we subsidize the general fund.
And just for my clarification, we have not actually received any dollars, or have we, this fiscal year from the casino?
We've been getting monthly amounts
Okay.
ever since they reopened. And we also have, it has been, we've had contact, excuse me, with a casino regarding the LDA funds. Right now, their game plan is to provide $3 million in December. And I also need to say too, that we also got some money from them at the beginning of January, because that is usually when they true up from the previous year. So we got about 1.9 million in January. They intend to give about 3 million in December and true up with the rest in January.
So would you say to date, where are we in terms of the 6 million in terms of percentage received?
And this, I would
Just
not,
roughly.
because I don't want to give you all figures. So I prefer to get back to you with that.
Councilman Lay?
That's not what the LDA says. They're supposed to give us all 6 million in this year. I believe that's paragraph 5. I don't have it in front of me.
So I'll just tell you that in terms of how they've been doing it in the past, some monies are actually paid over to the city in January, where they true up from the previous year. And this year, in the year 2020, we received about 1.9 million for 2019.
I'm not blaming you, but that's not what.
No, I was just making a statement as to what has been happening.
Well, that's still incorrect based upon, I guess, President Godwin and I had a whole discussion about this at the beginning of the year. In other words, they're supposed to make up the first quarter in the beginning of the second quarter in the beginning of the third quarter, then catch up. They're substantially behind. It has nothing to do with the operation of Majestic Star. There's no relationship to that. Other than we would get admission dollars if it was operating. The reason I asked the question, that would be a source of funds that I suggested we can use to maybe cushion the impact of the sanitary district, some portion of it.
Right.
I'm not suggesting all of it. So the 1st of January, we get the balance of what they owe us on the LDA?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Lay, and I agree with you. And I look forward to learning more about where we are year to date, because December is fast approaching.
And I can get that number to you. I'm sorry I didn't have it tonight.
Oh, it's okay. Thank you. Any other questions related to CPO 2020-70?
Mr. President,
Councilman Brewer?
just one quick question. So these funds, will it take us to the end of the year, meeting all our financial obligations?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what we are expecting for as our tax draw come in the end of this month?
I didn't hear your question. I'm sorry, Councilman.
Do you know what we're expecting to get with the taxes for the end of this month here?
The exact dollar figure, no, I don't. I'd have to get it for you. But you know, the second half of tax payments are usually smaller than what we would get in the middle of the year. But I can get you a dollar figure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brewer. Any other questions related to CPO 2020-70? Again, this is a vote not to pass it, but a vote to hear it on all 3 readings, requiring a unanimous vote of all council members present. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Atkins.
Yes.
Councilman Brewer.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brown.
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
Yes.
Councilman Lay.
Yes.
Councilman Weatherspoon.
Yes.
Councilman Williams, President Godwin.
Yes.
Mr. President, vote is 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. With a vote of 8-0, CPO 2020-70 is on our agenda to be considered on all three readings. This time, is there a motion to pass CPO 2020-70 on all three readings?
President,
Councilwoman Brown,
I move the CPO 2020-70 be passed on all three readings.
Second.
Second.
been moved by Councilwoman Brown and properly seconded by Council Members Atkins and Barnes Caldwell. We've already had an overview. Nevertheless, any questions or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Atkins,
Yes.
Councilman Brewer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Lay,
Yes.
Councilman Weatherspoon,
Yes.
Councilman Williams,
Yes.
and President Godwin.
Yes.
Mr. President, vote is 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. With a vote of 8-0, CPO 2020-70 passes on all three readings and is so ordered. Okay. I think we've ended our council pending ordinances and resolutions on second reading. We don't have anything there. At this time, we will have our mayor's report. Attorney Colvin.
Okay. Like Councilman Brewer, the city administration would like to thank the fire departments that assisted over this past couple of weeks with all of the fires. They've included Hammond, East Chicago, Portage, Munster, Lake Ridge, Lake Hills, Hobart, Maryville, Griffith, and Highland. So our deep thanks go out to those departments which assist us under the mutual aid agreements that we have with them. Those were really big fires, just as Councilman Brewer mentioned, and our Gary firefighters really fought really hard and really handled that very well. We have received an additional amount in CARES Act funding from community development under our emergency shelter grant program. It's just about another $1 million. Those funds can be used to prevent, prepare, and respond to COVID-19 issues for individuals and families receiving homelessness assistance. They can also be used for emergency shelter and also for rapid rehousing and homelessness prevention. We can also use the dollars for some PPE equipment. So this is a very useful source of dollars for us to be able to use. The announcement was made about St. Timothy having COVID testing, but the Gary the Health Department is also offering free COVID-19 testing on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays from 9:30 to 5:45 at the Health Department. There's a break for lunch at between noon and 1, but they're open all the other hours. Testing is also available on Fridays from 9 to 4:45, 9:30 to 4:45, and Saturdays from 9:30 to 1:45. There will also be another live COVID update this coming Friday from the mayor regarding what's happening in the city and what our stats are with regard to the COVID-19 virus here in the city. And the health department is in the process of making arrangements for rapid testing. And that's something that a lot of people have been asking when we were going to get the rapid test. The State Department State Department of Health had indicated at some point that it would be making those tests available to the health department. But we're now in the process of contacting a private company to see that if we can get those tests as well, since they're usually take about 15 to 30 minutes before you can get the results. So that ends the report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Attorney Colvin. This time we'll have questions of Attorney Colvin as well as other city officials. I'll just, as a note, just in case. I see B. Scott Henry, David Stahl, and Marinetta Barber are on the attendees list. So in case there are questions for them, we should move them to the panelist section. Council members?
Mr. President,
Councilman Lay?
I have three. Is the chief of police on?
I don't think so.
I appreciate if you would ask him to call me at 219.
He is on.
Okay, I'd appreciate if you could call me at 219-712-1494. 219-712-1494. I sort of have three questions of the Chief of Staff. When is the State of the Union address going to be given? Did I miss it?
You did not miss it.
Okay.
December 4th, I believe that's the date.
Is that a regular council meeting?
I don't think
You mean
so.
is that the date of a council meeting?
What's our first meeting in December? That's all I was asking.
I think it's the first.
The first.
First. So the mayor is going to call the council in session in order to do this?
I'm not sure, Councilman. I'm not sure how you.
Okay. In terms of that CARE money, you mentioned homeless. Well, I'm not concerned about the large council people. Will the district council will be able to participate if they get calls about people having problems?
Are you saying, can you refer people to? Sure.
Yes, yes. In other words, can the council itself use that to give you a direct movement into the community? They be used to refer people for this program. Unless I misunderstood, you said it was $1 million or something, amen?
Yes, it's $1 million, dollars, another allocation that we've received from HUD.
And would they be able to also refer people to district council people?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, just to be clear about the source of the dollars, because they're HUD dollars, there are some income guidelines attached to these dollars. So.
Well, yeah, no, I don't think they would. I'm not asking that they could do it. They would just simply, people call them, they could then call you or refer them to.
Yes,
That's
you
all.
can refer
A
people.
referral, that's basically what I'm talking about.
Okay.
There was one other question. I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. But thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman Lay. I just wanted to, just for information flow, follow up on the state of the city. So December 4th, is there a time?
I don't have a time, Councilman, but I'll get it to you.
Okay, that will be helpful time, and I guess I'm assuming it'll be via Zoom.
Yes.
But, okay, so just please keep us abreast
Certainly.
on that. Any other members have questions, city officials?
Mr. President?
Councilman Brewer?
Just one. On 25th and Burr, we've been having this problem for quite some time with trucks to turn off on 25th and Burr, and they're going down to 25th and Clark Road. And what they have done now, they have dug the road out on the far east side of 25th and Clark Road there. It's a pretty big hole there. So, and normally that corner is pretty dark. If you turn there, your car can possibly turn over. That's just how big the hole has gotten now. I received a call today and I was getting off the expressway and I went past there today. So I said I would definitely bring it up tonight. But the problem is we need to make sure that those trucks are not turning on 25th and Burr going north. Not north, they're going east off of Burr. There's a little small sign there saying no trucks can turn, but it's like the sign says turn. There's so many trucks turning down that road there. We have paved that street, I believe, twice since I have sat on the council, and some streets haven't been paved in 40 years. And I just don't see good money going after bad when we're allowing these trucks to continue to come down roads they should not be coming down. So if that can be addressed as soon as possible, because that's a safety hazard, as big as that hole is at that intersection there, if someone would turn early, they would definitely go into a ditch. That's how deep the hole has gotten now. Thank you.
President.
Councilwoman Brown?
We have asked several times to have some signage there. when we had a person who was in charge of that, they put a sign there, but the sign is not very large. It's a small sign. And it's not something that the truckers can very easily see. So we do need to have a larger sign there. But we have asked about a sign there on more than one occasion. And they did, in fact, put a sign there, but it's not very visible.
Thank you, Councilwoman Brown and Brewer. Any other members have questions? I have a few. I wanted to just double check and see where we are in terms of the presentation of CPO 2020-50 and 51. That is the operation and salary budgets for 2021 in terms of their presentation to the clerk's office, and has the mayor's office received said ordinances from the clerk?
I don't know if Councilwoman Atkins wanted to speak at all about that, but we discussed that today.
I can.
Okay, Councilwoman Atkins.
So we have collectively created the amended board CPO 2020-50 as well as 51. And so that was sent to, I believe, the Finance Committee as well as myself. When I did review it, I did note that there probably was 2 so far that I've caught, just in terms of the totals that were incorrect. And so we want to make sure that once it's received to the clerk to be then processed to the mayor, that everything is correct. And so I asked via email if I can just have a couple of more, like the rest of today and early tomorrow, to get back to the administration, as well as I will make sure that the Finance Committee is CC'd on that email, as well as the deputy clerk, just to make sure if there's any other variances that we need to correct, that is done prior to. We just want to make sure that we have the clean copy. And so I called I've communicated to Attorney Colvin about those, and she'll make sure that the staff on the finance side correct those. But I also told her I'll do a double check and go through the rest of them just to make sure that we're all aligned. And so Deputy Clerk Reynolds, you should have that no later, I would say probably by late afternoon tomorrow. And I think that that's fair, right?
It might be earlier than that, Councilman.
Earlier than that, okay. Trying to give us a little,
Yeah, I get you.
Well, thank you, Councilwoman Atkins. I just wanted to be clear that the corrections you're making do not relate to the amendments that we made. Are they just general changes to the whole document, or are they specifically related?
Yeah, it's just making sure that the formula, the actual amended changes are done correctly. But when, for example, the total did not update correct, if that makes sense.
So sometimes the formula may have
Excel
calculated, so we're checking that.
I'm just doing double checks to make sure that the formula, for the changes was, the subtotal is reflected correctly.
Thank you. And so we suspect that those will be to the clerk by tomorrow, the 18th.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely will be tomorrow.
And then Deputy Clerk Reynolds, it'll be your intention to get it to the mayor by 19th or so? If you receive it by the 18th, 50 and 51, you will then get it to the mayor's office by the 19th. Is that feasible?
Well, it would have to have the president's signature first.
Oh, okay. So ideally by the end of this week, and I have no problem signing it, but I just want to make sure that I want to have some sense of what our schedule is. I know we have various days that we need to get certain things done.
Right.
So let's just assume that by the 19th, the mayor has it. And just so we're all clear, the mayor then has the opportunity, has 10 days from date of receipt to veto it, to sign it, pocket veto it, what have you. And at that point, after that action is taken, the clerk will notify the council, okay? And then the council will have 30 days. Even though our next meeting is December 1st, we'll have 30 days from the date of receipt of that to take action or no action. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So hypothetically, if the 20th is when a veto decision is made or not, or whatever, let's say a veto decision is made on the 20th, we would have 30 days, so until December 20th, roughly, to take action.
The council would, you saying?
Right. If we have 30 days from the date of notice of an action by the mayor? Is that?
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully we wouldn't be in that situation, but.
Let me ask a question.
Councilman Lay?
I thought we were under the same requirements as any other ordinance. We can go past our meetings. In other words, we have a meeting December the 1st. We would also have a meeting December the 15th. So we could ignore both those dates.
Mr. Chair?
Attorney Williams?
Yeah, I agree with Attorney Lay. I believe the statute says no, at the maximum 30 days. But as far as the veto statute and overriding the veto, I think you have to comply with that statute, which means if the mayor vetoed the amendment, it would have to be overridden at the very next meeting. I don't believe you could usurp that statute.
That's different than what Attorney Colvin informed us, because she was saying that there's a different statute related to the fact that we passed our amended budget after, I think, October 1st.
That's right.
So you want to chime in, Attorney Colvin?
Yes, under this particular provision, which is in the taxation statutes as opposed to the ordinances, the statutes relating to ordinances themselves, it gives the council 30 days to act. So that is a part of what I sent to the council members from the commissioner of the Department of Local Government Finance.
Yeah, I read that. I guess I'm black. So you're saying we can bypass these two meetings? That's all I'm asking.
But I'm not sure. Well,
it wouldn't be wise, but we could.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not in your time frame, but just in terms of what the statute allows, it does allow 30 days.
Well, part of my concern is that, as we start, I certainly wouldn't want to wait a whole 30 days if we were going to take action, if we needed to take action. But, let's just hypothetically, let's say that a veto decision is made on, I don't know, November 30th, right? Or depending on when he receives it, December 1st or December 2nd, after our first meeting in December. I'd be ready to necessarily take an action on the 15th. I'd be doing some information gathering and so forth, but I would also suppose that at some point this fiscal year, that data has to be entered into Gateway. And as we run into the holidays, I just want to be mindful of the time, and hopefully the mayor will receive it as soon as possible. And whatever action is going to be taken, hopefully it is done in keeping in full mind where we are in the year.
Right, I agree.
Okay.
Mr. President, keep it in line with your first time schedule. I know you can't say it's going to happen that way. What date? December the 1st, we would, if he vetoed it, we would take action.
Right, I would agree.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to just ask a couple more questions and I'll be quiet. I saw this no cell phones in the City Hall notice that came out on Reimagine Gary Facebook page, and I'm aware that there was a gentleman who came to City Hall a few weeks ago and did a whole 50-minute expose about Freedom of Information Act, and he was demanding to receive the city's, I think, zoning book at the Building and Zoning Department, and they didn't have a physical copy of it. And he was suggesting they must have a physical copy for the public to inspect, and he kind of went up and down the steps and all around and was sent from place to place. And I don't know whether this was in direct reaction to that, but I can imagine it might be. But I do think, and this is just a comment, that there are practical and potentially legal issues with saying writ large that no one can bring their cell phone into City Hall. I think you're possibly treating employees or contractors or even elected officials, I have two of them in here tonight, differently. So how do you discriminate in a practical way about who can and cannot have a cell phone? I also think it's 2020. And, this is different. I know, like some courts, for example, your cell phone must be off. But to say that you cannot bring your cell phone, I think that presents public safety issues. These days people even have the information that they need their emails, their photos they've taken of things will very often be on their cell phones. So I just wanted to express my concern with that policy. I don't think that, I like to use this analogy, we shouldn't launch a missile at a gnat, right? So we want some proportionality. I mean, one individual chooses the, video, and it was a little embarrassing what his experience was. I don't necessarily think we should just create some big overwhelming policy that I think is convoluted, cumbersome, and cantankerous. Lastly, I want to ask about the 224 account. In the next time, I don't think we've gotten it yet in terms of our monthly financial update. I certainly understand because you got a lot going on. But in that update, I would like to see the balance and the status of the 224 account. That's the ambulance EMS account, just for the public's knowledge.
Actually, Councilman, I'm going to send that report to you, your monthly report, tomorrow.
Thank you.
But I'll make sure that the 224 account is in there.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Councilman Lay?
I agree with you. I have no idea what kind of phone policy that would be. I mean, again, I don't know about shooting a missile at a gnat, but Fly Swatter would probably take care of it. I don't think such a policy could survive that. We can make them turn it down when they come into the council meetings, but I don't think we can restrict it. I really don't, and I agree with you. This is pretty much, that's what everyone carries now, is these phones. Right. And in a federal court, they actually take the phone, or they do not allow the phone to be brought into the building in most courts, except maybe for attorneys. But no, that policy shouldn't go into effect, but it should be rethought.
I agree. Councilman Brewer?
Yes, President Godwin, so would it be fair to say, as a person that's being serviced in any capacity, whether building, zoning, whatever, being serviced, that you are not allowed to be on your phone at this time when you're requesting it? Yeah. Would that be fair enough to say?
I think that's fair. So if you're talking on your phone in line, or not paying attention to the person you're dealing with, I could see that. I know I often use my phone just to refer back to whatever information I'm dealing with if I'm coming to meet with somebody. So I think that, it's going to have to be a standard more than a rule, right? I mean, you have to have some flexibility with this because every situation can be different. But I think just a policy that simply says no cell phones in the building, I don't think that's administratively practical. And there may be some freedom, there may be some communication, speech. I mean, people who have disabilities and these certain devices, I mean, there could be a whole lot of potential issues on the margins when it comes to that. But I would just ask that the administration rethink it.
Well, I know we ran into some issues with that as council, with people coming in with phones and want to record and things of that nature. We couldn't stop them from doing that, even into the council chambers.
Well, I agree. This is a public place. And so I know that many of the employees who were being videotaped said, don't record me. And of course, we know we've seen that in the law enforcement arena too, right? The public has a right to record all of us. I mean, we're public officials. This is a public building. It belongs to the public. And so we must always assume we're being recorded, and whatever we're doing, we shouldn't be ashamed to do it in public and to be recorded. So I would just ask the administration to rethink it. I can see some things like you shouldn't be on it in line and stuff like that, but I think the policy will be short-lived.
Okay.
Any other questions from city, or comments from council members to city officials? All right. I don't believe we have any deferred or unfinished business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move, Mr. President.
Stand adjourned.